Now, this hip movement here makes irons and drivers so much easier to hit good strikes and good curvature. So you'll be slicing, hooking the golf ball less, and you'll be hitting the ball more at the middle. And what that is turning with a more centered turn with those hips. Now, what I see with a lot of golfers is instead of turning those hips, they'll be sliding the pelvis away from them in the backswing. So just having this sliding, swaying movement. Now, what we see quite often when a player sways is they will often have a counteracting movement of the upper body, tilting excessively back towards the target. What's that called? Reverse pivoting. So why that can be so damaging is then that will cause an environment where the hips have to slide aggressively towards the target, so slide again to get themselves back in front of that golf ball. But it also creates this seesawing effect of the body. Lower body will go towards the target, upper body will now fall back because it's moved too much towards the target. So that's where, just because of what those hips have done in the backswing, has created this massive roll-on effect to where if you're having this movement in the downswing because of the terrible hip movement in the backswing, you're going to be really struggling with strike. Your body, when it backs up, you're going to strike the ball fat, you're going to thin it, you could top it, and it's really going to influence your club path in a very horrible way. I've seen many golfers with this problem overactively then turn the upper body to try and get the club back in front of them, and then they'll swing over the top, or they just leave the club as the body tilts back and the hips slide forward in the downswing. That gets the club stuck behind them. So if there's a fault in the game which is so unbelievably destructive, it is that. Because every single shot you hit can be something different and vastly different too. So that's why we need these hips to turn nice and centered in that backswing, because then it creates this good stability between upper body and lower body. Upper body and lower body can be nicely together here. See how my upper body's on top of the lower body with this good turn of the hips, no slide. And then it makes it incredibly easy for both parts to stay more on top of each other in the downswing, shift a nice amount to where then I can hit ball and turf really easily. And it's going to control my club path really nicely too. I'm going to have no extra funky movement which can force the club one way or the other. So it's going to help massively with ball striking, and it's going to help massively with accuracy. So this here is the best drill by far to work on this. So all you need is a chair. So it could be a camping chair, could be something like a swing plate, it could be your golf bag, and having your 4 fingers distance away from your trail leg to the chair. And you have the chair here just at the back of your hamstring, so it doesn't affect your club path on the way down. So what we do here, we want to practice getting the feeling of turning, getting the weight going into that right heel for a right-handed golfer, and either staying where those hips are, or more ideally actually creating space between your trail leg or trail side of the hip and the chair. You can see as I turn back here, I'm actually creating space, but I'm still getting that weight going into my trail heel because I'm turning my hips. When people slide, they lack turn completely. So we're turning those hips, getting that weight into that trail heel, creating some space. Now from there, all we need to do is hit shots. So we've had that feeling, great, let's hit some balls doing it. Nice, it feels good every single time you do this because upper body and lower body stay nicely connected, you shift easier, you have a little bit more power as well because you're gaining turn. You're not doing this funky movement of swaying the hips because you'll hit the chair. So you can see there, really nice body movement, getting there nicely. So let's do it with driver too. So like we said, this is massively beneficial for driver as well. And as you can see, it's quite hard to do on my platform here, just because the platform isn't big enough to have the chair on it as well, but we can still have it here, just hanging off it. Now, why this is so important also for driver, because if we are at a good setup, we're behind this golf ball is in line with the inside of the left foot. So as I'm turning back in my backswing, if I have that nice centered pelvic turn here, that's going to keep me behind the golf ball, and then I'll have a much better management of my shift and pressure shift in the downswing. Because if I slide and I have this reverse pivot, it's so easy for me to counteract, like we said before, with that pelvis sliding so far forward that my low point starts to get in front of the golf ball with driver. So you'll be massively hitting it so short for what you're capable of doing. So with me having that pelvis turning, one, that's going to help with power, of course. It's going to help me get the hands actually more around me, deeper. It's going to fix a lot of your slices. But also, now I don't run the risk of excessively sliding towards a target. So my low point now is going to be consistently behind the golf ball and raising up through it. So it's very beneficial for driver, also like it is for irons. So let's hit one here. And it just feels really, really solid when you're hitting that with driver. So guys, get yourself a camping chair, 4 fingers outside your trail leg, miss it, create a little gap, you'll be all good to go. And you'll create a hip movement that will make driver and irons so much easier. So if you like this video, of course, click that like button. If you want more golf instruction just like this, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button too to be notified every time I put out a video. So let's do this and we'll be hitting better shots.